Washington Post with another big story about Trump campaign and perhaps administration connections to the Russians. And now we're getting close to home, literally. So let me go to the Post here. The law enforcement investigation into the possible coordination between Russia and the Trump campaign has identified a current White House official as a significant person of interest, showing that the probe is reaching into the highest levels of government, according to people familiar with the matter. They also report that this investigation is going quicker than expected. They have gone deeper than expected already. And wait till you get to the real twist here. Yes, it might be Kushner. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think the second part of the story is even bigger. But let me tell you about who it might be first. Current administration officials who have acknowledged contacts with the Russian officials include President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, as well as Attorney General Jeff Sessions and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. So it could be one of those three, but apparently they are focusing more on Kushner, according to the Washington Post report. Now let me give you more. Although the case began quietly last July as an effort to determine whether any Trump associates coordinated with Russian operatives to meddle in the presidential election campaign, the investigative work now being done by the FBI also includes determining whether any financial crimes were committed by the people close to the president. Go ahead, you tell me what I told you. I told you this isn't just about Russian meddling in the elections and doing some fake news and WikiLeaks, etc. That's not. Look, I personally don't even think that's a big deal. If they mess with the ballot box, that's a gigantic deal, but there's no evidence of that. But to me, the real reason that the Russians were helping Trump was because they wanted something in return. What is it that they want in return? I believe that it is partly the lifting of sanctions, which is blocking a $500 billion deal that they had with ExxonMobil, hence Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State. But I also think that Donald Trump had a lot of financial dealings with them. That's not a blind guess. We know that he was in the same group in Deutsche Bank as a lot of the Russian oligarchy is, and they called out the global laundromat. We know that he's done real estate deals with them over and over again, and his sons have said that his golf courses are financed by the Russians. There is a Trump server in Pennsylvania that received constant communication from Alpha Bank in Russia. So there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, but the FBI can uncover further evidence that is not just circumstantial, but can show you actual bank accounts, etc. Now, if they get into that, and now apparently they are investigating this as a financial deal, well, that's a giant story. And that easily, if proven, easily brings down the president and whoever else is involved. So let's go back to that. The White House also has acknowledged that Kushner met with Kislyak, the Russian ambassador to the United States, in late November. Kushner has also acknowledged that he met with the head of a Russian development bank, God help me with this name, Vneshekonombank Bank, which has been under US sanctions since July of 2014. But curiously, the president's son-in-law initially omitted contacts with foreign leaders from a national security questionnaire. In other words, he was trying to cover something up. You don't leave that out. First of all, you know that you met with those guys. It's not like, oh, I met with the Russian ambassador. Oh, that just slipped my mind. Why? Was that important? Of course, you knew that it was important as you were doing those forms. Everybody in the whole world knew it was important. And it didn't slip your mind that you met with him and the Russian bankers. You left that out because you thought, oh, that could be incriminating. So let's go back to Vneshekonombank. They explained that they handle development for the state, and in early, Russian state obviously, and in early 2015, a man purporting to be one of its New York-based employees was arrested and accused of being an unregistered spy. So this bank obviously is connected to the Russian government, spies for the Russian government, or at least some employees do. And Kushner met with them, and very importantly, omitted it from the questionnaire when he was first coming into the government, and apparently has connections to the Russians. And now the investigation turns to financial dealings. That's where the rubber hits the road. That's where it gets really, really interesting. So we won't know until the FBI concludes this investigation and hopefully shares that evidence. But as I've told you from day one, if he did a financial deal, he is totally toast. And I believe he did. We'll see. But this is obviously big evidence that the FBI is now squarely looking into it. Our reporter Jordan Chatton broke the Donna Brazile story. He was right, she just apologized for it. Help us get more reporters like that. You're the one responsible for that. Thank you, and let's do more right now at tytnetwork.com/go.